Our founder flames. This right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum. Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. Live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight. Your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.
Deep within our universal time matrix lies a sacred flame that most never discover, the threefold founder flame. This isn't just another spiritual concept. It's the very foundation of creation itself. The threefold founder flame represents the trinity of divine consciousness, but the ascended masters. Each fold represents the masculine, feminine, and neutral forces. The Ascended Masters knew this secret. In our next episode of Grand Rising with ChristoLight, we'll reveal how you can connect with the threefold founder flame and what it means for your spiritual journey. Join us live on YouTube and Facebook for Grand Rising with ChristoLight. You won't want to miss this revelation.
Grand Rising, grand day to all of you that may not be in the rising time, tuning in and tapping into this second edition or second episode now of Grand Rising with ChristoLight. So this is a series that is brand new and fresh for your airwaves, where we discover, explore, and dive deep into the 15-dimensional universal matrix that we are a part of in this existence. Along with that, we will be talking about the Ascended Masters and what role and position the Ascended Masters truly play in this 15-dimensional universal matrix that we're in. Along with that, you will learn individual Ascended Masters, how to connect with them, and how to draw in the conscious archetype and memories of these type of beings. Along with that, we will also be touching on the power of crystals and crystal healing, and we'll be correlating and relating how we can use crystals to help us connect with the Ascended Masters and the different rays of light that they are a part of. So before we dive into this episode, which is going to be about the threefold founder flame of our universal time matrix system. We are going to go ahead and take a rewind back to yesterday's episode, and I'm going to give you guys some highlights from where we kicked off yesterday. What to look for and what is going to be coming as we continue to embark upon this journey together when it comes to Grand Rising with ChristoLight. What is coming up in this series?
Hey, beautiful souls. Let's dive into something magical today. Have you ever heard of the Ascended Masters? Think of them as wise, loving guardians, beings who've walked the earth, mastered their spiritual lessons, and now guide us from higher realms. Crystals aren't just pretty rocks. They're like little energy amplifiers. Each one vibrates at a unique frequency, and some crystals are especially tuned to work with the Ascended Masters and their rays. For example, amethyst connects with the violet ray and helps
body, the mind. Breathing into the mind. This beautiful, beautiful matrix grid. This is a map of all of the timelines in which the consciousness moves, that you are simultaneously taking place within the entire time matrix. So you could connect with Amethyst and then intentionally connect with Saint Germain. And then you can work with Saint Germain and Amethyst to help bring. So as you guys saw in the last episode, Yesterday Rising, we started to break open and talk about what this 15-dimensional universal time matrix is that we are existing in. Because we got to keep in mind that not only... Actually, give me a moment. Let me figure out how I want to word this. So I kind of mentioned this in the last episode, and that is that within all of existence, within all of our opinions, our temporary feelings, and the illusions of life, there is a foundational, organic, balanced blueprint that allows everything to exist exactly how it is, and to be able to eternally exist. So it's almost like the creator basically created these master blueprints of the universe and then duplicated its own self as the source to want to experience itself through different forms. And then that's where the 15-dimensional time matrix comes in. And I'll go ahead and actually pull up the image again for you guys, just so you guys can take a little more time at what this time matrix is that we're speaking on. All right, I'll go ahead and pull up on the share screen for you guys. Right. So now it may be a little bit blurry for you guys, but when you look on there, it shows the particle universe. So the particle universe is the balanced universe that we are a part of when it comes to our direct universal time matrix. And you can see to the side, there's the antiparticle, and then there's also the shadow, or the phantom matrix, as they call it. So the phantom matrix is like the underworld. It's like the shadow realm of actual Christ consciousness, so to say. Which is why, as human beings, we have our balance, which is the Christ consciousness. We also have our underworld, or our shadow versions, our shadow world, which is the phantom matrix of our own self. And then we have the antiparticle. The antiparticle is our ascended, basically non-material, non-particleized version of self, which is like pure light spectrum. So that's why in the middle here we have particle universe, because we're the balance of both. We're the balance of light and dark in this holographic universe that we're in. So then, as you guys see at the very top, the first three are sound fields. So it's primal sound waves before they even turn into light, and then from light into matter. And this is where the true ascended masters that never leave that realm stay. And they're just pure sound waves. And then, once it gets into the 15th dimension, the 15th dimension is where we start our primal light fields. So this is where sound now begins to turn into light. And this is where the threefold founder flame comes in. It may be a little bit blurry for you guys, but dimension 15 is pink. So the pink flame is also correlated with the violet order. And then dimension 14, you have the yellow. The yellow flame is correlated to the golden order. And then we have dimension 13, which is the blue flame. And that is correlated with the emerald order. So this is when the sound begins to turn into light. And the light then at dimension 12 begins to turn into matter form. And that's why, as human beings with these material matter formed bodies, we live based off of a 12-dimensional or 12D grid. Lots of us have studied Kabbalah, Christic teachings, as well as other crystalline 12-dimensional mapping systems. And this is all related. So I just wanted to give a little review of the 15-dimensional holographic map that we took a look at in the first episode for you guys. And now before we step into talking about the threefold flame in depth, as well as how we can connect with it and relate with it, we're going to go ahead and take a moment and have our self check-in, self-scan time. Grand Rising Warren, good to see you, brother. Welcome to the space. And Grand Rising, my queen, out there in the other room. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. All right. So, before we go ahead and dive into unleashing this powerful knowledge about the threefold founder flame, let's go ahead and do what we love to do in the beginning of these spaces, which is our holistic mind, body, emotion self-scan practice. So for this self-scan practice, what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and use a singing bowl of my choice that comes up in this moment. And with that singing bowl, I'm just going to intuitively flow and strike with it. And I will also guide you with the breath through the mental body, through the emotional body, and through the physical body, so that we can do a self-scan, use our breath to consciously bring any love, healing, or upliftment to any parts of our mental self, emotional, and physical before we dive into this information tonight. On the light is said tonight. Man. So with that being said, go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Grab your sage, Palo Santo if you'd like. Grab crystals that you would like to connect with. And feel free to sit, lay down, however you'd like for this. And let's take a moment to go ahead and allow ourselves to get prepared for 44 seconds. All right. Alrighty. So for the self check-in, feel free to grab a journal if you would like. And you can use this journal to help you with, releasing, writing out, reflecting, or just putting out onto paper what intuitively flows for you as we go through this self-scan. And today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the throat chakra singing bowl for us today. I've been feeling in the collective, there's been a lot of throat chakra clearing, throat chakra recalibrating. So there you guys go, throat chakra symbol. All right. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Have your back nice and straight if you're sitting. Relax the shoulders. Relax the jaw. Relax the toes and the fingers as we get ready to self-scan. And then once you're comfortable and ready, go ahead and bring focus to the breath. Breathing in through the nose. Drawing it down the body. Exhaling out of the mouth. Breathing in through the nose. Out of the mouth. Let's continue to focus on this breath. Breathing and drawing focus to the mental body of the mind. As we breathe into the mind, are there any attachments to the past or future that is reserved in our mental focus? Are there any memories continuing to plague us with negative energy and emotions? Are there any belief systems, negative thought forms that we would like to release? If so, continue with the breath and allow them to flow. Breathing in self-love, positive thoughts, and mentally focusing on the blessings of being alive. Continuing to breathe as we now make our way down into our emotional body. Breathing into our emotions. What are our emotions telling us in this moment? What messages have the emotions been telling us? Do we need to let go of taking on others' emotions and the weight that we are carrying? Have we suppressed or rejected our own emotions from allowing them to flow because of outer influence or self-criticism? Continuing to breathe into our emotional body, letting go of any rigid emotions, softening our emotional field with the breath. Grounding any emotions that are taking over unconsciously. Now bringing it into the physical body, breathing into our physical biological field, breathing into our nerves, breathing into our cells, feeling that oxygen expanding the physical body and releasing any blockages, causing dis-ease and physical ailments. Do we need to stretch the body a little bit more? Do we need to rest the body a little bit more? Do we need to have more fun, move, and play? Or do we need to be more at work, constructive, and create? Breathing unconditional love into your physical body. Taking a moment to process our diet and our consumption. Have we been the wisest? Are we growing and learning? Or are we still continuing to hinder our physical well-being? And as we breathe, may we honor the intuitive and conscious messages our mind, body, and emotions have signaled to us in this self-scan. And as you begin to make your way into conscious awareness in your physical body, in your physical avatar, and you come to this space again, may you honor what is real for you. You may use your journal to journal anything that has came up. Feel free to journal goals, steps, reminders, or just any type of message that could resonate for you. When you're ready, you may return, open your eyes, and enjoy this episode. Thank you. For everybody out there, this is the throat chakra singing bowl. Whew. Okay. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take just a moment and just allow ourselves to process. Come back to center. Whew. Wow. That was something. Grand Rising Lunar Queen. Good to see you. How's everybody feeling after that? All right. So, question for everybody out there. How many of us are familiar with the threefold founder flame? Oh, interesting. Feeling like you want to paint. Got those creative juices flowing. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So we'll go ahead and dive into our focus for this episode, which is going to be the threefold founder flame. Now I'm just going to pull up an image for you guys so you guys can get a good idea of what this looks like. Okay. So I'll of course be using other references as well to give you guys even more in-depth detail about what this is. And then we'll actually go into each of the flames as well and the divine orders or divine councils that uphold the law of one through these different flames. So as you see, it says GSF, God, sovereign, free. So that's just like the phrase that we like to use, that we carry through the universe to help us remember our divine sovereignty as the one that is experiencing itself. So we are God, sovereign, and free as human beings. We are made in the image of the source. The source has duplicated and basically continued to birth its own self into many different forms, experiencing its own self as one consciousness. So that's God, the all-permeating force of life that is within every single bit of existence and ever will be. Then you have the sovereign part. The sovereign is your individual, unique Christ-conscious flame. So as an individual that has been concepted from the source, creator, to experience itself, you automatically are sovereign because you are the source experiencing itself. And there's nothing above you, and there's nothing below you. And there's nothing above or below any of us when it comes to our sovereign energy. And then the free part. So we have free will as these beings that we are. We get free will being in this time matrix. So God, sovereign, free. That is what we are. We are the creator experiencing itself. Therefore, we are sovereign with our free will of choice through this universe and how our soul gets to go through its journey. And we get to write these contracts. We get to do these different missions. And we get to make different choices as souls in our evolution on how it is that we would like to experience our eternal dance of life as we incarnate and go through death and rebirth. So, God, sovereign, free, it also correlates to each one of these flames. So you have God, the God part. You can call this creator. You can call this whatever term you would like to use. Higher power. And this relates to the blue flame. It looks a little green, but it's basically blue, bluish green. And the blue flame, before we go more in depth about it, this represents the masculine force. This represents God's will, as they say. So this is the father energy. This is that energy that puts forward, that creates the masculine impulse, that allows things to drive and to continue to be. So this is pure divine willpower, the blue flame. So this is the will of truth and the will of keeping truth alive and keeping truth flowing through existence. Then you have the gold flame or the yellow flame. I'm actually going to go ahead and skip on over to the pink, and then we'll go to the gold. So the blue represents God's will, or the divine masculine force of our time matrix. The pink flame is the divine feminine. So this is our divine feminine universal time matrix original energy, the pink flame. And this represents unconditional love, compassion, and sense of connection. So this is also like kindness and grace. And it's also associated with the angels, the angelic councils. And that's where the free part connects. The free connects to the pink flame because due to unconditional love, compassion, and continuous healing, we are free with our will to be able to continue to make choices because we are not in a finite reality. And that's what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is allowing you to be infinite, to experience at your will, and to know that you are eternally experiencing. So even if you go through one thing, you have the next moment to make a choice on your soul journey. And then we're going to bring it to the middle, the yellow or gold flame, sovereign. So what this represents is that Christ consciousness, that middle balanced force that is basically the child or the son or daughter of the mother and father. This is the Holy Trinity, as we call it. Mother, Father, Christ, basically. And that's why the gold ray or the yellow ray, as we'll learn later on in this series, is carried and associated with Yeshua Christ. Because Yeshua Christ, as a Christ, walks as a balanced force of the masculine and feminine and brings that into this third dimensional realm. So each one of us is going to have all three of these flames within our heart chamber, which we'll talk about in a second. So there's a tiny, they say it's about a 1/16 of an inch big, threefold flame chamber inside of our heart. And this is basically the spark that keeps us connected to the eternal source. So the gold flame also represents illumination, learning, teaching, continuing to transcend, and continuing to become more conscious within your being. So you have the Father, God's will. You have the Mother, unconditional love, compassion, and nurturing to continue. And then we have the gold, which is basically feeling and having the masculine and feminine presence and stepping into your own individual power and making your own choices through action by learning, teaching, and discovering in this universal time matrix. So that's just a little bit to kind of break us open about the image and what the image represents when it comes to the threefold founder flame. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and read out of the ascensionglossary.com about what the threefold founder flame is in depth from this site. All right. And also I want to say too, it's very interesting is that you'll notice that in life, you see a lot of red versus blue, or you'll see red and blue as like opposites or polarities with each other. I mean, Crips and Bloods, Democrats, Republicans, so many different other things I can name where you see this red and blue correlation. And it's no coincidence. It all is what it is. What is our foundational blueprint has been multiplied and duplicated all throughout existence since the beginning. And now it's just in different forms, in different dimensional ways of representing these ascended energies, which we kind of talked about in the first episode, how basically these ascended energies manifest and materialize down into the lower densities, into more and more different forms. And then we get hybrids and different blends of the flames coming together to make up different races of our soul origins and starseed lineages and things of that nature. All right. So there are three original primal order sound fields that make up the ray aspects of our entire universal creation in the universal time matrix. The solar rishi are the first triad of light manifestations that make the universal trinity, that are projected from the emerald order and blue flame, the gold order and gold flame, and amethyst order violet flame from God's source field. Now you can say violet flame or the pink flame. It's also correlated with the pink as well. The threefold founder flame or cosmic trinity. The first emanation of the primal sound field, which represents the first individualization of the God source, is the emerald order or the blue flame, a part of the cosmic trinity. The second emanation of the primal sound field, which represents The second individualization of the God Source is the Gold Order. The third emanation of the primal sound field, which represents the third individualization of the God Source, is the Amethyst Order, or the Pink Flame. Collectively, they are also referred to as the Founders and the Threefold Flame that make up the GSF triad. If you remember what GSF is, that's the God, Sovereign, Free. The Threefold Founder Flame, Gestalt of Sound and Light Universal Consciousness. It's called the Guardian Host. Aurora from the 7 higher heavens in Andromeda answered the Guardian Host's clarion call and have joined them to protect this particular universal time matrix. As a result, we also have omni-universal God sources that are referred to as the Aurora Host that are also connected to the Guardian Host. So the Aurora is part of the 7 higher heavens in Andromeda. And that's honestly just a whole entire another episode or topic, because that's then going into what is actually part of a different time matrix. So there's other time matrices out there. So the three universal founder rays are the universal trinity and comprise of the blue ray, the mother arc, the violet, the father arc, and the golden ray son of Christos. The universal trinity is the first light of the one blue flame in the 13th dimension, the second light of the one gold flame, the 14th dimension, and the third light of the one violet flame, 15th dimension. Together they make the trinity that make up the threefold founder flame of our entire universal time matrix. Maybe I flip-flopped the mother and father with the blue and the violet ray. Interesting. But either way, it still represents Mother, Father, and Christ's Son. All right, so the fifth harmonic universe. For human beings, these consciousness bodies exist throughout the densities and are aspects of the higher self and light body. These aspects are called the stations of identity. In the fifth harmonic universe, in 13D, 14, and 15, exist the 3 layers of the Rishi matrix, or the threefold founder flame. These collective consciousness bodies exist on the planet through the densities and are aspects of the future timelines in the light body of the planet Earth. The Earth consciousness body is directly interconnected in all harmonic universes to interface with the human consciousness, which is its life form expression in all densities. In the fifth harmonic universe, there is no dimensionalization into matter forms. Therefore, there is no planetary body or human forms in the fifth density, as the consciousness does not manifest into matter. This area is called pre-matter. The 3 primal light and sound fields hold the ray expressions of Mother Arc, Father Arc, and Golden Son of Christos, the Trinity of the Godhead, from which all biological forms are created in all of the harmonic universes. The Interdimensional Free World Council. The Emerald Order are the original founders of the Interdimensional Free World Councils. As a result of the Paladorian Covenant to ensure that souls lost in the Phantom Matrix You guys remember the Phantom Matrix? That's basically the underworld or the shadow world of our 12-dimensional grid. And for those of us that are not aware, the Phantom Matrix is based off of the 10-dimensional grid. So it only goes up to 10 dimensions instead of the 12-dimensional system. And you can actually find a lot of Tree of Lives and other teachings out there where they're teaching based on the 10-dimensional grid instead of the crystalline 12-dimensional grid. And that actually keeps you in a fallen state, so to say. And what I mean by a fallen state, it's basically it keeps you in a shadow version outside of your organic Christ consciousness embodiment. So, yeah, the Emerald Order created the International Free World Councils to ensure that souls lost in the Phantom Matrix are returned back to the God Source. As a result, the plan to restore spiritual freedom and ascension to the section in the fallen matrix is also called the Emerald Covenant. So you got to think about that. You know, we're in this free will matrix. And since we're in a free will matrix, you know, we got to have some things in place that can help make sure we're being steered into continuing to ascend in this soul journey up to our omega, back up to source, so to say. Because free will is free will. So, you know, if we continue to do things that are going to be karmic for us, and we're just being manipulated and enslaved and all these different things, then, you know, it's fair game. It's free will. So that's why we have interdimensional councils, different guides, ascended masters, so they can help channel in and bring information through light and sound into our realms while we're in these lower densities, because in these lower densities, we're more susceptible to being ignorant of the truth, of the divinity, of Christ consciousness. So the Emerald Order, Eraphim. The Eraphim are the double diamond sun body of the Christos that are here on the planet to direct the threefold founder frequencies to repair the architecture of the planetary grid, as well as communicate with the Aurora for the Aurora crystal matrix re-encryption of elemental body projects with the Master Christos Collective, a consortium of beings that are from the 7 higher heavens realms. All right. Return to Solar Rishi. The entire universal time matrix, our Milky Way system, has shifted into the higher frequency domain of the non-dimensionalized cosmic layers of the God Source field as an ascension post fail-safe plan. The expansion into these 3 new bands of cosmic God Source field creation allow for the return of the Solar Rishi, the first triad of light manifestation that makes up the Universal Trinity. The Universal Solar Rishi are the threefold founder flame, guest-style consciousness that exist in pre-matter and are that which all biological forms have been created in the harmonic universes. Recently, during the next stages of the planetary ascension cycle, the Solar Rishi has begun their descent from the pre-matter layers and into the core of creation, which links into the dimensions of the matter worlds. The return of the Solar Rishi into the matter worlds is a significant event which has generated massive impacts on the timeline architecture of this reality, bringing structural changes and ripples of deep cellular transformation to the individual. collective consciousness, and entire planetary sphere. During this phase, the planetary architecture has entered into the solar Rishi matrix, spiritual initiation. The Ki Ra Sha tri-wave braided communication. Approximately by the end of this year, the solar Rishi matrix will have braided themselves and anchored into the entire Rishic matrix, into the planetary staff, for the purpose of the universal trinity, integration with the organic timeline of this matter realm. So yeah, right now today, as you guys know, you can feel this solar Rishi returning into this planetary grid. And it's exposing, it's collapsing, it's bringing out the shadows, it's clearing out the karmic debts. All these different things have been coming up big time as of late. All these massive solar flares, get it? Solar Rishi, solar flares. We've been getting unspeakable amounts of solar flares, which bring plasmic light into this planetary grid of Gaia. So the Emerald Founder records, and this also definitely connects with the Emerald Tablets and much more. The Cosmic Founders promise to us was made with the Emerald Covenant, that all souls in this fallen universe would eventually be found and return back to their original spiritual home. This was the original divine plan of spiritual ascension, the evolutionary journey through the astrological ages and timelines that will facilitate our way back home, to remember our divine purpose and be reunited with God's source. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on Solar Rishi here for you guys and just read a little bit about Solar Rishi. So the Solar Rishi are the first triad of light manifestations that make the universal trinity, that are projected from the Emerald Order and Blue Flame, the Gold Order and Gold Flame, Amethyst and Violet Flame. The first light manifestation of the Emerald Order and Solar Rishi, the Blue Ray orders of Elohim and Oraphim, that direct support to the guardian founder races in the lower harmonic universe, and are supporting the God sovereign free liberation and the continued spiritual evolution of humanity towards ascension and the law of one. The Emerald Order of Elohim seeded the Ahuzi, the Anahuzi, feline Elohim races through the Lyran 12th Stargate in the fourth harmonic universe on Aramenta. The second light manifestation of the Gold Order are Gold Ray orders of Seraphim, Perez Avian, Bird People, and Athean lines, are the Solar Rishi, which incarnated in the fourth harmonic universe on Lyra Vega through the 10th universal Stargate. The third light manifestation of the Amethyst are Violet Ray orders of Solar Rishi, comprised of Satishan, Avian Pegasus people, and aquatic Raharama, seated in the fourth harmonic universe on Lyra Avian through Universal Stargate 11. The Trinity of the Emerald Order, Gold Order, and Amethyst Order incarnates seated in the fourth harmonic universe in the Lyran Matrix and are known as the Royal Houses. I'll also go ahead and read this too. It's pretty intriguing. 12 tribes. So we've all heard, the 12 tribes and stuff like that. The primary hosting races for the angelic human seeding of the 12 tribes of Earth, Terra and Gaia, were the Sirez Egyptians, most advanced genetic lines that had received the blue flame Melchizedek genetic imprints. These lines are the Urtit, Cloister, host races of Melchizedek. That went on the latter creation cycles to create the Mahi Grail lines that are the genetic timekeepers of the threefold flame. The keepers of the blue flame, gold, and violet through the Palladorian covenant, the original Mahi priest King Grail lines were the solar Rishik levels of the emerald, gold, and amethyst orders, and incarnated through the Urtit Cloister host race in the location of the Stargate, opening points on the planet. Phew. Wow. So yeah, as you guys know, this is some pretty deep knowledge to process. And if you guys ever have questions, just reach out. Put your questions in the comments. If you have anything else to add, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from all of you guys about what this is that we are doing and what we are part of. So I'd also like to read this as well for you guys. And this is about the Orphan, or the Christos founder race. So, the first light manifestation of the Emerald Order are Solar Rishi. Okay, I'll just go ahead and skip that first part. Additionally, there are Oraphim that carry the double diamond sun body from 24 to 30 strands of DNA. The Emerald Order Oraphim and the double diamond Oraphim are from the Christos line that are here on the planet to direct the universe, threefold founder flame frequencies to repair the architecture of the planetary grid, as well as communicate with the Aurora for the Aurora crystal matrix re-encryption of the elemental body, projects the Master Christos collective, a consortium of beings that are from the 7 higher heavens realms. These are the ancient master builders, races that are also called guardian hosts, from which the Essenes on the earth have been generated to serve as the blue flame holders, the code of the Blue Nile. And then I'm going to also click on in here. So the Master Christos Collective. The Master Christos Collective are ascended masters of crystal star that may be communicated within the 7 higher heavens, or trans-time continuum, which is located in the core of the next universes through Andromeda, and corridors which lead into the higher creation realms of the god worlds. They are a united crystal star matrix collective of beings from multiple god realms that are in alliance with the crystal star and Aurora re-encryption projects. Their role is to unite all identities of the personal Christ through all precision of the equinoxes, ascension cycles. But the God source in their collective matrix is the architecture of the crystal kaleidoscope, which became accessible in 2014. Essentially, they are the collective Christ sun bodies uniting in the many universal cores simultaneously, which phase lock into the access into the omni-universes. Ooh, wow. And then the last thing I'm going to go ahead and read here is the Christ hollow tones. So these are tones that you guys can speak and utilize to help activate your crystal body at any time. So when the tones of Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, A, La are woven into a complete pattern, they are actually Merkaba, plasma wave, spirit body. This spirit body of crystal consciousness is photonical, sound like, spelled something like Christala or Christ Hala, Kara Yaha Sahala. Emphasis on the H, which also describes and explains the male and female merged as risen, Christos double diamond, somebody. These Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, Allah tones are a part of the crystal star and crystal diamond sun matrix of the Ascended Masters, referred to as the Master Christos Collective, located in the omniverses of the higher God worlds. So we're talking beyond the 15D universal time matrix is where these energies and forces reside. So keep in mind, yeah, it may be super expansive and very complex to go through and learn about this 15th dimensional time matrix, but at the same time, there's still more. There is more elevation, more expansion out in the universe and out in this creation that we're in. And this 15-dimensional time matrix that we're a part of here in this Milky Way system is just one of very many. But being present in who we are and what we are in these in these times, you know, the 15D matrix is for us to learn about, since we are a part of it and existing and experiencing through it consciously. So I'll go ahead and pull up the map again for you guys. Just give me one moment. And I just want to show you guys again. Just want to show you guys again the map. And let me see. Can't really find this map now. Here we go. Okay. Go ahead and pull this up for you guys. All right. So again, as you can see here, you have the 15 dimension maps. It says here, Source God exists beyond the time matrix. The 3 Ascended Master realms, which are the 3 sound fields. Then from the sound fields, it descends into dimension 15, 14, and 13, which are 3 primal light fields, which is the violet or the pink amethyst, the 14th, which is the gold and yellow, the 13th, which is the blue or emerald. And then from there, we then develop avatars. So dimension 12 is the beginning of developing an avatar. And then once you descend into dimension 12, you then begin to form more parts of your light being that is beginning to turn into an oversoul. The oversoul is where you start to have imprints that start to imprint who it is that you are as an individual. And then when you get to the 6th density and below, this is where you start to tap into the astral planes, the causal body. And then, as you guys know, we have the 3rd dimension, the 2nd dimension, and the 1st dimension. And it's all connected. So none of these are separate. These are all fluid, vibrational planes of existence that are holographic dimensions that we mentally experience through our mind. And whatever material body or form that we're in, we translate it and experience and express these different lights and sounds uniquely through our being. So then you can also see here, it's showing densities. So you have dimensions, and you have densities. First density is carbon. Second density is carbon and etheric. So that's the metaphysical realm. Density 2 is the metaphysics, which is why the 4th dimension, the 5th dimension, and 6th dimension is a part of that. And that's where you find like the Akashic records, the astral planes, the dream world. Then you have the etheric matter in density 3. And this is where you step out beyond that and go into oversoul energy. And then it keeps on continuing on. So basically it's this big old octave of pure energy being turned into sound, light, and then descending into matter form and multiplying into infinite amounts of different matter forms through different characteristics and traits. And then the ascension process is shedding those layers and making your way back up the scale to the ascended mastery. And that's what the ascension process is coming back into full awareness and embodiment that, oh yeah, I am all these dimensions, and I am also actually the God source experiencing itself as well. Now, it's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to be aware of it. But it's another thing to be embodying it and to be naturally flowing as it. And that is the whole point of ascension, is embodying the knowledge of who we are. So we can let go and release of the other things that are keeping us from living our most authentic, beautiful, and heartfelt life that we are blessed with. So I think I'm going to go ahead and leave us off there for this episode. I think that's definitely plenty to process and just kind of digest for now. And we'll be back next Tuesday. So I would be doing it tomorrow, but I just wanted to kind of get my feet in the door and get these 2 days in this week, Tuesday and today, just so I can get this out there and get this broken open with you guys. And then next week, we'll be doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday 9 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern. And we're going to start diving into more of the individual orders and the individual flames. And as we go into these individual orders and these individual flames, this is where we're going to start learning about individual ascended masters that carry these different flames, as well as the different crystals that you can connect with that helps you connect with the flame and ascended master energy. So that is what next week will be. This week was kind of like an intro, giving you guys the basics and the blueprints of what it is that we're even talking about and that we are living in and a part of in this universal time matrix. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. Please leave comments and even add more knowledge and wisdom that you know through the comments as well. I'm always open to growing and evolving with others, as I know that I am not the one that has every bit of information, every single knowledge in the whole universe. So I'm always open. So thank you guys for joining me again in this brand new series, Grand Rising with ChristoLight. This episode was about the threefold founder flame, as we also touched on some of the orders and what the Christos and solar rishis are in this beautiful time matrix that we're in. So let's take a moment to close out the space. And I also want to give reminders as well that I have retreats coming up. I offer one-on-one healing services as well. And I also welcome guests on my podcasts and shows as well. If you'd like to be a part of the Sacred Kingdom community, which is an international community of holistic and conscious minds, let me know. Because I know a lot of us are looking for healthy, safe, sacred community that's mature, balanced, and filled with principles and boundaries. And this is what we carry in the Sacred Kingdom. You guys can actually tune in on Friday for free. We'll be live streaming here on Sacred Light Broadcast Network, Facebook ChristoLight Robbins, and Sacred Kingdom YouTube as well. We'll have a free full moon event from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Jess Sage with heart activations, and then Lunar Queen as well with white light oracle cards. We'll be taking over that space and bringing this free to you guys through the airwaves. And all you have to do is just tune in on YouTube or Facebook. You can receive a reading for yourself. We'll be doing a self-scan and a heart activation. And you guys can also comment, ask questions throughout the live, as well as even potentially join and hop in on the live. So, as we close, may we give gratitude for the God Source. May we give gratitude for the Ascended Masters. May we give gratitude for the Mother, Father, and the Christ that is making the one of this existence and creation. Give thanks for all that we are and who we are as the I Am. I see you, and you see me. Namaste. Have a blessed and beautiful rest of your time space. I will see you guys soon. Catch me live 1 p.m. Eastern today. The Raw Material Law of One.
Are you longing for deeper connection and real community? I'll never look at a full moon the same way after being part of this. Ready to discover the Sacred Kingdom difference? This Friday, July 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. EST, the Sacred Kingdom community is gathering online for a one-of-a-kind, live-streamed full moon event. It's totally free, streaming on YouTube's ChristoLight broadcast network and Sacred Kingdom, plus Facebook at ChristoLight Robbins. Here's what's in store. Start with a gentle mind, body, and emotions self-scan, guided breath clearing, and relaxation led by ChristoLight. Then, let Lunar Queen open the doors to insight with a white light oracle reading. And don't miss Jess Sage's signature heart activation, perfect for tuning in to this powerful full moon energy. Bring your journal, a cup of tea, your favorite crystals, and cozy up wherever you are. You can join the conversation in live comments, ask questions, or even hop onto the stream for a live reading or energy clearing. This event is donation-based, with every contribution supporting our 3 Kingdom members. We believe in sharing abundance and empowering each other because community is where true transformation happens. If you're curious about one-on-one healing, crystals, or our growing community, check out our link page for more. So let's revolutionize the way we use technology and love together, under the glow of the full moon. Will you join us?